Good morning. It being 10 o'clock-ish again, as usual. I'd like to call to order the full committee work session on Public Works and Highways House Bill 2026. I was expecting Senator McConkey today, and we'll give him some time to show up. The only thing I see different than what we straw polled on last week was he had and I'm sorry I don't know the exact numbers of these two items, but he's got something up in the North Country that they want to forego on and swap it out with something that was originally dropped, and there's no difference in the cost of that, and I told him we would entertain that. But if he doesn't get here, that was our business today, other than the DOT supplying some figures that we had asked for last week, some numbers and figures. So, gentlemen, you're up. And this will probably be a very, very short work session today.
Yeah, there was some questions last time, so.
Yeah, remember that no one can hear you at home unless you turn the mic up.
Yeah.
We'll sit down here.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll take another copy, please. Thank you. And that one you go on. SAD, my favorite. Very good. Even in here.
You did all the work.
Yeah. Thank you. Again, Toby Reynolds. I'm the Director of Project Development, New Hampshire DOT. A few of the things that you asked us to bring from last time is what's in this handout here. I can walk through this section by section, but the first 4 pages, it's front and back, are a list of acronyms that we even have in the 10-year plan book. So if you see something, and we'll include this in future printings of the book, but if you see something in there and you don't know what it means, hopefully we've captured it on this list of acronyms. We also provided a definition for each one of those to help understand it a little bit better. So that's the first 4 pages, front and back, first 2 pages. The next page is a list of the mandated federal programs that we talked about briefly at the last meeting. We were talking about the TAP program, the Transportation Alternatives Program, CMAQ program, Congestion Mitigation Air Quality Program. Those are also explained on here. Also off over to the right column of that page is the approximate appropriation that we get each year. And point of correction, I think I stated that we received about $12 million or $15 million worth of TAP funds per year, but you'll see on this printout here, I think, I can find it, page 2, near the bottom, it's closer to $6 million per year. So it's a 4-year program, not a 2-year program like I had assumed. So I just wanted to correct that from the last meeting. Any questions on those 2 handouts before I get on to the next one? Okay. So the other question we were asked was if there was a toll increase. There's a couple of projects in the draft plan that are currently funded with federal funds that we could, currently funded, with federal funds that we could move to turnpike funds with a toll increase. How much funding would that free up for projects to add back into the federal program? So this printout here, the one with the projects near the bottom, it goes into a little bit of an explanation about the 2 projects that could be funded with turnpike funds if there was a toll increase. And then that frees up about $86 million worth of funding that we could apply to other projects. So we took a look at the projects that are in the back of the 10-year plan book, the projects that are delayed or removed from the current draft plan. And we made a recommendation of projects that add up to about that 86 million that would become available. We could choose any combination of the projects in the back. We chose ones that maybe aren't central to New Hampshire or southern New Hampshire, a little bit more northern, with the exception of Dover, Somersworth, Rochester. And that, for Dover, Somersworth, Rochester, for example, that project, we're proposing to only fund one phase of that project. It's a long corridor project. But again, we could slice and dice those projects to add up to the 86 million, however we needed to. Any questions on that one?
Questions? Yes, Representative Jack.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for coming. Can you explain how it is we're able to spend federal funds on the turnpike system?
Great question. There's certain, I'll take a shot at it. Yeah, jump in. There's certain sections of the turnpike that are eligible for federal funds. If you can enter the turnpike, or say I-93, and exit I-93 without going through a toll, then that section of turnpike you can use federal funds on that section of the turnpike. Is that
That's right.
pretty good? Okay.
The one, Bill Cass, Commissioner of DOT, you know, the one thing, you know, we try to, limit is if you do spend federal dollars on the turnpike section, it does federalize it from that point forward, which has certain restrictions as well too. So we really try to dissuade use of federal funds on the turnpike system as much as possible, because it does put, you know, it does put federal strings on that otherwise unencumbered by federal regulations sections of roadway.
Follow up.
So that's very helpful. That tells us we really don't want to do that. And so if that argues for getting the toll increase and converting that to turnpike funded.
Any other questions? I have one. I thought that the figure that we were talking about last week was around $55 million, because that's all. I take it we're talking $55 million a year, so you're pushing it forward to get to the 86.
That's two separate
Yeah.
things. The with the toll increase, projects that are currently in the plan funded with federal money, we could switch to turnpike funds. That's what this first sheet is.
Okay.
That would free up some federal funds to fund some other projects. The back side of this page is more related to the 55 million or the 550 million over the course of the 10-year plan. What projects, or how would we administer the projects on the turnpike with that funding increase, with that toll raise? And so what we looked at here and summarized generally was what we would consider the priorities moving forward with that additional turnpike revenue. So the blue arrow brings us down to about where the 10-year plan would end, or how much we would be able to fund with that 550 million. And then below the dashed blue line would be future years, future funding years to complete those two projects. So on here is the first two bullets, exit 6 interim improvement, which is the first project on the second project on the other side of the sheet, this 43850 project. And then the full exit 6 reconstruction, we wanted to prioritize that first because that's what we would see as one of the biggest safety needs on the turnpike. Then we would prioritize Bow Concord, the I-93 over I-393 over 93 interchange. That bridge over 93 is one of the higher priorities for us, condition-wise. Redoing that interchange also would address two other red list bridges within that 393 corridor. Then the 89 Bow Junction interchange safety improvement. And then we would prioritize the exit 13 southbound off ramp improvements on 93. Again, part of Bow Concord. Then, as funding would allow, we would move towards Manchester exit 7, and then the final projects within the Bow Concord corridor. I would say I would preface this with this is very like a preliminary look. We haven't done a whole lot of work regarding traffic control and how these would be sequenced, and if there's certain things we would need to construct before others. But this is like a high level. If we had 550 million over the 10 years, what could we accomplish as a quick look?
Thank you. Representative Brown.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. If you could just clarify something, Brian, I'm looking at this exit 6 work versus the red list bridge issues. Why would new construction of interchange be a bigger priority than a red list bridge type project?
So exit 6 is a safety improvement project, and they're both important. If we had to prioritize like what we would want to move forward first, we think we get a bigger benefit from the improvements at exit 6. The bridge at 393 over 93 is important to us. We need to get to that and address that bridge, but it does have some life left into it. It's not something we would need to jump on immediately, but it is in our 10-year window here. We'll need to do something to that bridge.
Thank you.
Yes.
Senator Vallone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for taking my question. So can you just clarify what a red bridge, that's a category, but I mean, that's got to cover a range of problems, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, essentially, a red list bridge is a structurally deficient bridge. It doesn't mean that it's unsafe or anything like that. It just means that it's at a stage set, a type of condition that is structurally deficient and needs to be addressed. So we inspect every bridge in the state once every 2 years. Red list bridges, because of their condition, they're inspected every 6 months, so we have more eyes on them to monitor the condition and see if it's deteriorating quickly or not. But yeah, it's we use red list, but it's essentially saying that it's a structurally deficient bridge, and that it needs attention.
Yeah. Follow up.
Follow up.
Thank you. So you get structurally deficient to the point where then it's unsafe, right? So do you have, I guess I'm looking for, do you have a scale? So I'm looking at how structurally
Yes.
deficient are these bridges so that
Yep.
you go from point A to by the time you get to point T,
Mhm.
that bridge is not safe, right?
So one of the criterias that we rate bridges when we inspect them, there are three main components of the bridges that we rate: substructure, superstructure, and the deck. And those are based on the inspection. They are rated on a scale of 0, meaning failure, to 10, meaning pristine condition. When a condition, any one of those three components, substructure, superstructure, or the deck, gets to a condition 4, that's considered structurally deficient. So while and gets on the red list to, we program it into a plan. We program it either into the 10-year plan, or it's something our bridge maintenance personnel have to go out and address, or something like that. So depending on, like you said, the rating, it could be a 4, which is just getting on the structurally deficient list. There is still, as Toby said, life in that. There's still, a rating factor of 3, 2, 1, down to 0. So it is all relative, I guess. So, but when it hits a 4, it does mean that it's a element that needs attention. It can't be overlooked. And as I said, redless bridges, when it hits that condition, we inspect those bridges every 6 months to make sure that they aren't deteriorating faster, or to keep closer eyes on them to ensure that they are, safe for travel. And, when things get lower rated, lower condition, it wouldn't be on the interstate, God forbid, but you'll see, down postings. We'll post things at 20 tons or 10 tons or things like that before we get to a point of closure or something like that. So hopefully that answers your question.
I don't want to ask too many questions. I think that's enough for now. Thank you.
Okay.
I think it would be helpful if we added that criteria into this little handout for future 10-year plans, because some of us, this is old hat too, but this committee changes constantly.
Sure.
And it's brand new news to other people. So if we had it in this, good. Yes, Representative Bogert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If it's kind of a follow-up to Representative Brown's question in regards to exit 6, and it was referenced as safety. And the I-393 over 93, and I'm more looking at the I-89-93 interchange, where you have lanes ending, going off, and you got lanes coming in. You got a decrease in speed. You're going from 3 lanes to 2 lanes, so you got a funnel effect going on at the same time. And I notice there's always a state trooper there to help reduce, to encourage the reducement of speed, which is a good thing. So my question would be, do we have data on, when we say safety issues, do we have data saying that this exchange is more or less due to accidents or due to some kind of criteria, it's more unsafe than another juncture, like 2 expressways coming together and stuff? Do we have data that actually states that, so we could say that? Because I'm just curious. Thank you.
Yeah, we do have crash data at both interchanges. We have crash data statewide. It can be a little difficult sometimes to take that crash data and rank one thing above another. Really, the numbers of crashes at exit 6, particularly southbound, is extremely high. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. There's also many crashes at the 89 Bow Junction interchange, particularly as you coming into Concord for the split at 93. So they both have lots of crashes. I believe the exit 6 would probably show that it has more crashes than the 89 junction, but we could certainly get those numbers for you.
Follow up.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman. And as a follow-up, would we see within those crash parameters, exit 6 on 293 would be a lot more, out of curiosity, a lot more local repeat use, and the interchange at 93 and 89 has more inference of out-of-staters and stuff that come to visit our state, and what impact one has on to the other?
Yeah, I don't know. Some of the traffic data could be used to kind of discern that information, but yeah, you would think. I know, for example, Bow Concord. One of the factors of the study, certainly on the weekends and stuff, there is a lot more out-of-state traffic going through there. One of the things that sticks in my mind from the study is that I-93 through Concord, really operates a lot of times like a local road, with a lot of people going from the State House or from Fort Eddy Road, they get on 93 to go 2 exits down to get to, South Main Street or things like that. So, I would, it may depend on the time of day and whether it's, and the mix. But certainly, exit 6 versus Bow Concord, it's one of the things we said, they're both high priorities. They both have, safety, needs that really should be addressed. Age-wise, exit 6 is, geometry-wise, and it's more urban, intercity, and it's, 1950s, geometry, vintage, geometry. It has traffic that backs up, nightly from the circle, onto the main line, which is a concern, as well as the very sharp weaves. It is an interstate highway. It is down posted to 45 miles an hour. Same thing at the end of I-89. It's had chronic issues that we've tried with, constantly improving signing and things like that to, knock the speed down and give warning to drivers. So it's very hard to, I guess, to judge one over the other. They both need to be done. And I think, the order of magnitude that we're talking about here, they both will get done, so.
Thank you.
And I would say, because of those safety concerns and things like that, the order and the priority of how we would attack those two projects is consistent with our approach for other things. When we approached widening of I-93, one of the first things we did was, address the interchanges where they had safety concerns, and then some of the state of good repair, some of the overpass bridges and redless bridges. And the very last thing that was done and funded after taking care of those needs was the mainline capacity improvements on there. So I think this follows a very similar and logical approach to sequencing these projects.
Thank you.
And just, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, don't forget that these items are usually identified by the local planning commissions and then brought forward and given their priorities from whatever the region is. And as long as I can recall on this committee, both the Bow Concord and the exit 6-7, because of the magnitude of the cost of those have, rather than identify one being more important than the other, they've always kind of, DOT, you've always kind of split the money and had them going on parallel courses, do a little bit to 6, do a little bit to this, so that they weren't all being handled as one at a time, like one priority over the other. They were always taken along parallel lines. Was I correct?
That's
Oh,
correct.
perfect.
Yeah.
That's the benefit of being here for 16 years and listening to this. Representative Jack.
Thank you. On bridge condition, there's also functionally obsolete. And I think we put into statute a few years ago that functionally obsolete was not to be considered when something was considered for the red list. So it's purely a safety issue.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions or concerns for the DOT today? Seeing none, thank you very much, gentlemen. Is there anybody else in the audience that wants to talk or address anything? Otherwise, we are going to close this work session today. Thank you very much. Work session is closed. A small recess, yes, okay,
Okay. Are we going to meet next Tuesday, I assume, to talk again the 10-year plan? I think we got one more bill to exec, hopefully, depending on what the
We're
subcommittee.
probably gonna meet next Tuesday. May or may not talk about the 10-year plan.
Okay.
This time. The focus is gonna be on getting the early bill out.
Early bill.
The SALT bill, which we are going to convene in about 30 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Representative Jack.
Can I just say, if those of you who have not had the opportunity to travel through Manchester and pass by exit 6, if you're taking your life in your hands if you try to merge onto the highway from there.
Yeah. In about a half hour, we're gonna start on the, salt. We're going to try and get an amendment today. And if we, I'll talk off the record, in the beginning. If we can't get an amendment and get it done today, we will certainly meet next Tuesday, because the bill has to be in by Wednesday at noon. So, we're gonna have a brief discussion about the salt bill. Whenever Representative Boyd has the salt passed around, and we will, at the very least, we will agree on the wording of the amendment and everything else. If we don't have it today, we will have it in its entirety next Tuesday. We will probably meet next Tuesday afternoon, not in the morning. It's been brought to my attention that that's the Delta Dental soiree in the late afternoon, and people that like to attend that, you might as well just come here in the afternoon rather than wrap out everything in the morning and then for 5 hours. Otherwise, take a break until 11 o'clock, or when it's Representative Boyd gets his testimony.
Yeah. PIA does a They have one coming up. I didn't. Yeah. Oh, in March. Okay. Yeah. I think I'll have it.
I didn't know if that was said.
Right.
Killing time.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
mean, I don't even know what it would apply to farm. We don't have.
It being 11 o'clock, I'd like to call to order the subcommittee work session on House Bill 1607 relative to the use and storage of road salt. And at this point in time, I'd like to recognize Representative Boyd for announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am still waiting for final legislative language. I'm also waiting for Representative Rockmore was kind enough to put together a blurb regarding the work session that the subcommittee had. So until I have that particular information here, I would politely ask that we be in recess until materials can be provided.
We were promised the final draft within the hour. So at this point in time, I'm going to recess this committee for another 15 minutes, and we will keep recessing every 15 minutes until we get our proper paperwork. We are now in recess. We get that door, please? John?
I'll get it.
John, door, please. I'm sorry, it being 11:15-ish again, reconvening the work session on HB 1607. Although we do not have the amendment back from OLS at this time yet, we have this draft memorandum, and it actually says what the change to HB 1607 is. If you have your copies of HB 1607, I encourage you to pull them out and take a look at it. What the amendment is going to do is it's going to just replace the first section of the bill, which said, no person shall store sodium chloride, calcium chloride, magnesium chloride, or salt-treated abrasives or other chemicals used for snow and ice management on road, parking lots, and sidewalks in such a manner or place as to subject groundwater or surface water to the risk of contamination. That's what the original bill says. What we are going to propose, it says, is that sodium chloride, calcium chloride, magnesium chloride, or salt-treated abrasives or other chemicals used on road parking lots and sidewalks for snow and ice management shall not be stored in such a manner or place as to subject groundwater or surface water to the risk of contamination. Compliance with this section by municipal and county entities shall be contingent on available funding from grants, gifts. That's my Chicago boy coming through. Grants, gifts, and municipal revenues. So, I guess I'm going to open it up to the committee for questions on this and see if this is a reasonable replacement, if anybody has any objections to this amendment. And I'll call on Representative Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to get the conversation going, I really want to thank Representative Rockmore for her hard work in putting this memorandum together. And I really want to also highlight Representative Newman, Representative Brown. This was a really good bipartisan collaboration to arrive at this particular point in time where we are with the bill. And the memorandum also includes basically kind of a synopsis of the context of the conversation that we had during our particular session, on top of the testimony that we received from not only Representative Rung, but from David Niels at DES. So just to put some meat, begin to put some meat on the bones for the conversation. So thank you.
So DES has signed off on this. They approve of this and they feel that they can enforce it and regulate it. So, any questions, concerns?
Mr. Chair?
Representative Suter.
Mr. Speaker, I have a question. Does this apply to private property or just commercial properties in cities and towns?
This is just towns.
Thank you.
Representative Edgar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was wondering which lines, maybe somebody from the work session could tell me, of the actual, as it exists right now, which lines does this pertain to? What that, but that's section.
Lines 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Okay. Thank you.
Representative Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would also like to say that DES was very informative as to what their programs currently are and what they're trying to do to encourage management of the salt application for not only the private entities, but also for the municipalities. And during our conversations, I had a follow-up with Adam Crapo at DES, and he indicated that we had conversation about how we could maybe move forward with this and impact the use of salt on the state without having it new regulation, so to speak. And the comments that we had with Mr. Neals indicated that their Green Pro program that has been very successful with private entities is something that they've tried to encourage with the towns. And even though we only have 3 towns currently on it, had some what I thought were very productive conversations with Adam Crapo that indicated that they're going to look at ways to encourage towns to follow suit and get the education that they need without necessarily making it regulation. And they're going to look at the fee structure possibly that towns are charged for the training. He didn't make any commitments, but the concern that I brought up was that if we have a great program like this, which it seems that we do have a very good voluntary program, why wouldn't we encourage that rather than make it law per se? And he's looking at ways that they could possibly implement that and get townships to buy in that way with the green program. So I thought that was important to note. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, just as a recap then, if you recall, when we first heard this bill, we were all pretty much in favor of it. Matter of fact, it was a unanimous. We knew it needed a tweaking, and we erroneously, my fault, I'll take full responsibility, we put it in interim study, thinking that by doing that, we would have it till the end of this term to fix it, to make any changes. That was obviously wrong. It was an early bill and needed to go out of this committee by next week. So we reconsidered it, reinstated the bill, put together this little subcommittee that made this following change. And before we go any further with the, okay. Before we make any other changes to this, I just wanted to get a straw poll of how we feel about this language. Are we ready to pass this amendment as is, or do we need any further tweaking? So just a rough show of hands, all those in favor? Thank you. I was going to then give you the option to stick around here until 12 o'clock to see if we got it back from OLS, where we could go ahead and actually exec this bill. If not, we will come back next week. But Representative Boyd just tapped me on the shoulder and said it's ready, so he went to get it. So once again, we're going to take maybe a 10-minute recess until we can get the copies, and then we are going to exec this bill. Question?
Thank you. I know it isn't required at this stage, but I'm just curious if the prime sponsor agrees with the amendment.
Yes, she sat in on the work sessions. So this was signed up by DES, agreed. DES took part of this, the prime sponsor, our little subcommittee. This has all been agreed. So once again, how about a 10-minute recess till 35? We are in recess. It being 12:35-ish, calling it back in session on House Bill 1607.
I gotta get paperwork done.
And I would like to recognize Representative Boyd for a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, as it relates.
I'm sorry. I am now going to, I'm going to close the previous subcommittee work session. And now I'm going to open up the executive session on House Bill 1607. FN, and recognize Representative Boyd for a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, the Public Works and Highway Committee has in front of them an amendment to 1607 identified as 2026-0497H, and I would move that amendment ought to pass.
Motion has been made. And and Representative Suter seconds it. Any questions or concerns on the amendment? Yes, Representative Faulkner.
Early on, we identified the term road parking lots as somewhat ambiguous. Are we talking about, I mean, what's the difference between a road parking lot and a regular parking lot? And is this intended to cover salt that's used on roads? So I think we need to be clear about which of those things is, are we excluding road? I mean, it seemed to me that the intent was to put a comma between those two. That if it's used on roads, comma, parking lots or sidewalks. And that I thought we were going to try to clarify that terminology because I don't know that the term road parking lots means anything.
Any other questions or concerns? Any answers or objections to the way this is, other than Representative Faulkner? I think you may be right, but I remember holding up a House bill for over 4 hours here once on a couple of commas. I don't intend to do that at this point in
Suggested
time.
that perhaps is an administrative change, just a comma in, if that's the intent.
That can be the one, I'm sorry, Representative Bo?
That can be done when it's billed. The clerk gets it after we pass it. Can be done.
You know, or it's going to go to finance or to
Correct,
Senate. So
correct. Duly noted. Any other questions or concerns? Seeing none, clerk, call the roll, please.
This is just on the
Sorry,
amendment, right, Mr. Chair?
Representative Cloutier.
Yeah, this is on the amendment, correct, Mr. Chair?
Correct.
Okay.
Vice Chairman Bogert,
Yes.
Representative Fadolfi is absent. The clerk votes aye. Representative Bohm,
Aye.
Representative Brown,
Aye.
Representative Louis,
Aye.
Representative Suter,
Aye.
Representative Foote is absent. Representative Cloutier,
Yes.
Representative Jack,
Yes.
Representative Edgar,
Aye.
Representative Faulkner, Representative Newman,
Yes.
Representative Vallone,
yes.
Representative Juris,
Yes.
Representative Rockmore. Mr. Chairman,
Chair votes yes.
Mr. Chairman, with the vote of 15 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, 2 absent, the amendment 0497-2026 passes.
Moving on to House Bill 1607 as amended. I recognize Representative Boyd.
Mr. Chairman, I move House Bill 1607 FN OTPA.
Motion has been made and seconded by Representative Suter. Any questions or discussions? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Chairman Bogert,
Yes.
the clerk votes aye. Representative Bohm,
Aye.
Representative Brown,
Aye.
Representative Louis,
Aye.
Representative Juris.
Yes.
I apologize, out of order. Representative Suter,
Aye.
Representative Cloutier,
Yes.
Representative Jack,
Yes.
Representative Edgar, Representative Faulkner, Representative Newman,
Yes.
Representative Vallone,
Yes.
Representative Rockmore. Mr. Chairman,
The chairman votes pirate R.
Mr. Chairman, with a vote of 15 in the affirmative, none in the negative, 2 absent, House Bill 1607 FN ought to pass as amended is unanimous.
Thank you. This will not go on the consent calendar because it's got a financial note on it. Let's see, covering everything. As far as I'm concerned, the executive session on House Bill 1607 is adjourned. Next Tuesday, I think we've got all our bills passed and acted on except House Bill 2026, the 10-year plan. We've already determined, we've got a raw framework on it. I only anticipate one small change, once again from Senator McConkey, and I will beg his indulgence to come the following week, unless we have something else other than from the Senate. So as far as I'm concerned, we should all take next Tuesday off and breathe deeply and relax. And anybody that's coming to the Delta Dental, we'll see you then.
So, for the record, Mr. Chair, we will not meet basically for 2 weeks until I believe it would be Tuesday, February 17th. I don't have a calendar in front of me.
Yes, it is.
Just, and
That's
it would be
correct.
10 a.m., right?
It will.
Just to let everybody know.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
February is a perfect month. With 4 Sundays, and 4 Mondays, and 4 Saturdays. Not gonna happen again with 2037.
So anyway, enjoy keep an eye on your emails for the notice on the 17th. Because once again, if we don't have any clear business, we might not meet for another week. So we are adjourned and thank you very much.